Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons versus the Cypher system on difficulty checks. Okay? So, and which one is better? And I won't bury the lead. Cypher system has a massively better difficulty check system than Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? Wait a second, Scott, aren't you always telling me that Dungeons and Dragons is the game to play and it's the best game in the world? Yes, that's right. So why are you telling me this has a better difficulty check? It does have a better difficulty check, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't make it a better game. That doesn't make it a better tabletop role-playing experience than Dungeons and Dragons. And the reason why is people want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Nobody wants to play Numenera. Nobody wants to play Cypher system at more than a 10% rate of Dungeons and Dragons. So the fact that you can attract regular, normal Joes and Alices to a Dungeons & Dragons table is incredibly important. Also, Dungeons & Dragons crushes Numenera and the Cypher system on intellectual property. But I'm going to tell you right now, the difficulty check system is way better on Cypher system. And the only reason we're talking about it is, hey, maybe you could pull some of this over into Dungeons & Dragons, right? Because that's why we play Dungeons & Dragons competitors. That is why we play Dungeons & Dragons competitors. We play Dungeons & Dragons competitors to steal those ideas and then bring them right into Dungeons & Dragons and make Dungeons & Dragons better. Okay, let's get into this. All right, so let me explain a Dungeons & Dragons difficulty check. So, Dungeon Master sets the difficulty, okay? And they just fixed this in the 2024 DMG. Easy roll, target number is 10. Moderate difficulty roll is 15. Hard difficulty roll is 20. Okay. Now, you as the player character, okay, do you have skill? If you have skill, then you can add your proficiency. Okay. Your proficiency is probably going to be a value of 2 to 5 points, right? Of +2 to +5. Okay. So if you have this, if you have the skill, you can add a +2 to a +5, okay, to your roll. All right. Next, you're going to add a stuck attribute, right? So let's say you're going to do stealth, right? That's going to come from your dexterity, right? So let's say that your dexterity is a +3. And then you also have stealth. That's going to be another +3, right? So that's a +6. So now to get an easy roll, all you got to do is roll a 4. If you need to if you need to make a moderate roll, you need a 4 on the dice for easy. You need a 9 on the dice for moderate, and you need a 14 on the dice for hard, right? On a D20 roll. Done. Okay. Now, I didn't talk about magic or spells or none of that stuff because we don't need to, because we're doing this straight, right? Because all the rest of the magic and spells and all that, Cypher system has it too. But let's just leave that out because it's the same across both groups, okay? All right, so how is Cypher system different? So first of all, Cypher system is incredibly elegant. One, what is the level of the task, okay? So they don't call it a difficulty check; they call it a task, right? And you're going to roll a check to see if you can complete the task. So every task is 0 difficulty, which means you don't have to roll, let's do it this way. All the difficulties are 1 to 10, and then the difficulty. So that's the difficulty number, right? And that's the level of difficulty. Okay. Now the nice thing is, every non-player character in the book has a level. Every monster has a level, right? So right there, you know the level. You know, you just get it's not like you don't have to do a calculation, right? Well, we'll get there. All right, so you get the level, and then you multiply it by 3. So let's say you're going against a level 4 monster, okay? That to hit that guy, it's going to be, well, actually, you know what? Let's use the same thing, okay? Stealth check, all right? We're going to do a stealth check. First of all, we're going to do a stealth check. First of all, the way you would do this is who's looking for the people. So a guard is just a level 2, right? But let's say this is the head guard, so that's a level 9. Or I'm sorry, that's a level 3. Okay, so a head guard would be a level 3. Okay, you take the level, you multiply it by 3. That's your target number. So now we need to hit a 9. Okay, so all we have to do is we just roll the dice. The player, excuse me, rolls the dice, hits a 9. You're good to go, and you bet it, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Me as the dungeon master in Cypher system, I can say, hey, dungeon master intrusion, okay? And then the moment I do that, then it racks it up to a level 4. Level 4 times 3 is 12, okay? Now, every time I do that, that gives the player an experience point. That's pretty cool, right? Now, the player character, they now need to hit a 12, okay? But get this. They have might, intellect. They have might, speed, and intelligence, okay? Might, speed, and intelligence, okay? So, might, speed, and intellect. I'm sorry. Might, speed, and intellect, right? So there's only 3 attributes rather than 6, okay? That's pretty cool. It's very simple, right? So here you would need speed. That's going to be concurrent to dexterity, right? Now, let's say the player character has 16 in speed, right? That 16 doesn't matter. They don't need, it doesn't matter for the roll, except that 16 is now a pool that they can spend out of it. So they can spend 3 points from that pool. Now they're at 13, okay? They're going from 16 to 13, and they're spending out of their speed pool. That applies a level of effort from the player character and reduces that 12 back down to 9, moving it down 1 level, 1 step, okay? So you can spend, and get this, your might, your intellect, and your intellect pool, your might, your speed, and your intellect pools are literally your hit points, which means that you can gamble your hit points to get a better chance of making a roll. That's brilliant, right? It makes hit points not just a number anymore, but a gambling currency. And that's, and guess what? Gambling when you don't lose your house and you don't lose your wife, that's pretty fun, right? And that's okay. Like gambling hit points, yes, right? Gambling money with any betting app, no, right? Like, okay, right? So that's so it is extremely elegant. Now, why is it elegant? Because it was made by a Dungeons & Dragons designer, Monte Cook, right? Now him and Mike Merles had it out, and he got the boot. He didn't get the boot. He did not get the boot. He said, "I'm out of here, bye," right, and left in the middle of the Dungeons & Dragons 5e design effort, which I honestly think is pretty big. That's a badge of shame on Monte Cook. He should have stayed. He should have subjugated himself to Mike Merles and got all the way through, right? But this thing is very elegant, and the difficulty check mechanism on Cypher system is infinitely better than the difficulty check on Dungeons & Dragons, and is 100% worth stealing, right? And the reason why I'm saying you should steal it and bring it over into Dungeons & Dragons is the idea is, as of today, and tell me if this is wrong, but I don't think it is because I've heard it on a million other channels, is tabletop role-playing game and board game mechanics are not trademarkable, which is very interesting. So, and actually don't steal it. Just do an homage. There you go. Wink, wink. All right. So yeah, just a CYA there. All right. So definitely check out Cypher System. It is a Dungeons & Dragons Titan competitor, right? So it is a Dungeons & Dragons competitor that is alive and that has strong bloodlines. It's a Titan, okay? Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.